Hi, and welcome back to Plastic Models by Regular Dude. And my next project, the Tamiya 1/35th scale German 3.5 ton truck with 3.7 centimeter Flak 37 anti-aircraft gun. That is a mouthful, so we'll come up with something shorter later. However, first things first, as always, give credit where credit is due. I'd like to thank Keith Short for hooking me up with this kit. It's a little different than what I usually do, and looks like it might be pretty interesting build. So, Keith, thanks. Appreciate it, man. Next, some of you may recognize this vehicle because it was one of the options for my 2023 Viewer's Choice build, where I gave you, the viewers, two choices of which kit you wanted me to build next, and this was one of those kits. This came very close to being the winner, but it was edged out just a little bit by the Dragon 1/35th scale SDKFZ 251/21 that I finished just recently. So here's this one coming up next. So first, let's take a look at a little bit of the history of this kit via ScaleMates. For those of you who may be first-time viewers or just don't know about ScaleMates, it's a website that is a scale modeling database and stash manager. It's a really good site. You can go in there, use a search function, punch in what you want to see, and it will come up and give you all kinds of cool information. So that's what I did with this kit here. So I punched this kit in. This is Tamiya kit number 32410. Punch this up, and this kit, this boxing, was released in 2017. It consists of two separate kits though. Tamiya does joint efforts with some modeling manufacturers. In this case, ICM. So the truck parts are product of ICM Ukraine. So this part of the kit is not a Tamiya mold. It is molded by ICM. The gun is actually a Tamiya item that comes as an individual kit or with some figures. So the whole thing here is boxed in 2017. The ICM truck itself was a new tool in 2014. The gun, the 3.7 centimeter gun, was a new tool by Tamiya in 1989. So we got 3 dates going on there. Whole box 2017, truck 2014, gun 1989. So it'll be interesting to see how this stuff goes together. All right, so that is a little bit of the history of the kit. So let's take a look at the box. All right, the box is the typical Tamiya box. White with artwork on the front of the kit inside. Lots of information, blah, blah, blah. But it is nice to take note that it does indicate that this is not a Tamiya truck. Some people complain, they'll get something like this and be, oh, it's not even a Tamiya kit. It's like, well, they're pretty good about putting on what it is on the front. I think they've also done some Italeri kits like this, where it's part of the kit and other Tamiya stuff is actually boxed with it. But it should be interesting. I've never done an ICM kit, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how that goes. Side of the box gives an example, some line drawings of the truck, the gun, front and back view, and 2017 copyright. The ends of the box have the same exact artwork as the top. On the side here, it has an actual photo of the kit assembled, and also shows that it comes with some ammunition and jerry cans, water cans, and drums. So it has a little bit extra stuff in there as well. I think it has some figures, but we'll see once we open it up, which we're going to do right now. So let's crack this thing open and see what's in the box. Inside the box is instructions, and a bunch of plastic in plastic bags. So first off, you can see that the truck itself is in this kind of weird, I don't know what color you'd call that, kind of a brownish color, whereas the gun is the typical of the time period Tamiya Decals plastic, I guess you'd call it. In gray for the accessory jerry cans and all that stuff. And then the figures are in almost a cross between the two colors, which is kind of weird. So these guys are Tamiya. These guys are Tamiya. A little bit different colored plastic. So I'm assuming these are probably from other kits or figure sets. So that's what we got. And then inside of here we've got some more stuff too, but we'll look at that once we cut the bags open. So let's go ahead and get all the plastic ready, and then we'll take a look at the instructions, and then we'll take a look at the plastic. All right, first up, let's take a look at the instructions. This is booklet style, so it's stapled, so it's like a little booklet instead of being fold out map type. Kind of nice. Information on the actual vehicle and gun that this is modeled after. 4 languages, English, German, French, and I'm assuming Japanese. And then on the inside, it's the usual thing. Paint call outs, recommended tools and glues, some caution stuff, and then we get into the actual instructions themselves, starting with the truck. So I'm not going to go through all that stuff because it would be quite boring, because we're going to see that when we put it together. So for the truck, we have, and it also has the figures, instructions for the figures and at what points they actually go on the vehicle. So we have 34 steps for the truck itself. Then starting with step 35, we move on to the Flak 37 gun. And that comprises 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 steps for the gun. And then step 43 is attaching the gun trailer to the tow point on the truck. Then you get into markings, marking and painting options. So we have option A, which is Luftwaffe, Italy, 1943. And then we have option B, which is Wehrmacht, 6th Panzer Division, Kursk, 1943. And it looks like the biggest difference is going to be in the markings. Markings are a little bit different between the two vehicles. And then obviously the figures. The Luftwaffe figures will be painted in a blue. I can't remember what blue it is. XF56 maybe? 50. Field blue. And if you do the Wehrmacht version, the uniforms would be painted XF65 field gray. So that's the big difference between the two. Now on the back it gives you painting, applying decals, stuff like that. So that's the instructions. We'll see more of that when we actually get into the build of the vehicle. So let's take a look at some plastic. Okay, so I'm gonna look at this plastic, probably not in like super detail, but I am gonna look at it in somewhat detail because I've never built an ICM kit before. So this will be a new experience. This is for the truck, and just tons of different parts. And looking at the detail, it looks really good. I don't see any flash, and yeah, just looks pretty groovy. Doesn't look like any visible ejector pin marks, and by visible I mean parts that you can actually see when you get the vehicle assembled. There is ejector pin marks, but I think those are going to be hidden. See, that's like the inside of the radiator, so you wouldn't see those two. There's some on the truck framework, but they're on the inside and they're very faint, so there's no way you'd ever see those. So Yeah, that's sprue A, and it looks really good. Not much in the way of mold seam lines or anything like that. So I'm thinking it's gonna be pretty good. So it'll be interesting to see how Tamiya cement works with this plastic. So anyway, sprue A of the truck. All right, sprue B of the truck. We've got the cab parts. So we've got the floorboard and firewall. The side panels. Okay, so back to the ejector pin marks. So we do have some on the inside. They're very faint, and they're strategically placed so as to be invisible once the whole thing's together, it looks like. So that's pretty cool. Looks like they really made an effort to make those things invisible. Same thing with the front here. There are some small ones there. Let's zoom this in so you can see what I'm talking about. There's some small ones there, but I think that's going to be covered. Small ones at the very bottom there, which will be invisible. Got these up here near the edge, above the windscreen, the windshields. So it looks like pretty much all these are going to be invisible. This is the roof of the cab. Now there's some pretty gnarly ones there, but again, that's the kind of stuff you're not really going to see. And I know it bugs some people, but you know what? If they're out of the way, I really don't give a hoot. It's when they're in like really obvious places that it becomes problematic. But we'll see how it comes out once this thing starts going together. So that is sprue B. All right, sprue C, which is the floorboards of the bed. These side bracing here, the fenders. Now there's a pretty gnarly pair right there. This one here, there's like flash from it, so that would have to be cleaned up, because you know you can actually see that from the side. But again, that's no big deal. Detail all looks really good. The floorboard detail looks good. Not much to say there, just all looks pretty good. So that's sprue C. Sprue D, these are the sideboards here. Tailgate, front, more this is bracing here for the underneath, I believe. All looks good. Now see, here's something. Okay, this is the inside, and you can see that there are no ejector pin marks except for right here, and I guarantee you can't see that. So I'm going to say, now this is very early on, and my opinion could change, but just from what I'm seeing thus far of this ICM kit, my first impressions are favorable. Now again, it could change once I start putting this thing together. You know, we could run into difficulty, but just the look of the plastic, it looks pretty good. You know, again, you can't really base opinions completely on the plastic, but it does look like they put some thought into it. That's my opinion. So that's sprue D bed parts. And we have two sprues E, which are the wheels. You got like the inside right there, like brake drum type stuff detail. There's the wheel cylinder there for the brakes. So the detail on the inside of these wheels looks good, and so does the detail on this part here. But there's two of these for the wheels. This is the last sprue for the truck itself. The windows, you got the windscreens, windshields, whatever you want to call them, door windows, the one right behind the driver's head. We call them here in the United States wind wings in the front, you know, the little angled parts, and the headlights. Now, let me show you, hopefully you can see this on the video, but this glass is really clear. Not much distortion going off. There's a little bit around the edges, but overall, That's some pretty nice looking glass. You can see through it really well, not much distortion going on. And because of the way they pack this, they pack it in a really, it's like a stiff plastic material, not our usual poly bag. It's in there and wrapped like 3 times. So the chances of this stuff getting scratched in transit or in the box are slim to none. So that's kind of nice. I'm impressed. So far, so good. Let's move on to the plastic for the guns, or gun in this case. There's just one. All right, so let's start with sprue A. We've got the trailer frame, fenders, wheels. Now these are the kind of wheels where this is part of the rim and the tire, and it goes on the inside of this part here. So I think that would be the backside. So the seam that would create, it'd be easy to fix, and you know, I'll fill it and sand it, but it's not that big of a deal because that part would be on the inside of the fender, so not a big deal. Got the leaf springs here, just a bunch of trailer parts. Here is that rocket grenade, rocket propelled grenade, I guess you'd call it, a range finder here. So that's something that could probably be used in a different kit. But anyway, that's the sprue A for the gun itself. All looks pretty good. We have sprue E for the gun. Okay, so this is kind of nice. Okay, now this is a one-piece gun. So you've got the breech slash, this would be a receiver, more like a rifle. So this is the receiver part here and the barrel, with a pin on the front for either that grenade, the rocket propelled grenade, or the flash suppressor. And the reason I say I like it like this, as far as being molded as one piece, is because, you know, sometimes, now generally manufacturers do a pretty good job, but every once in a while the fit isn't real positive, so you can get a little bit of movement in the gun, so the barrel might not be completely in line with the receiver, but this is all molded as one piece, so it's no big deal. And the mold seam lines seem minimal, so they should be easy to clean up. So I'm not going to complain about that gun any. That's pretty nice. You got spare ammo here, and just more parts. Traversing and elevation wheels, I'm sure there. The trunnions here. Yeah, just a lot of small parts for the gun mount itself and the gun. So that all looks pretty good. So that is the 2 sprues for the gun itself. We have A and E. And then we have 2 sprues from the sprue Z and sprue X. Now I'm sure that these are generic for Tamiya, in that they go with other kits as well. So we've got the drums here, jerry cans, water cans. Now this is nice because when you glue these together, German jerry cans have a seam all the way around. But when you glue these together, they have that seam. And then the handles, the carry handles, are molded separately, as well as the filler caps. So that's kind of nice. The barrels, you know, they're 2-piece, so there's going to be a little bit of cleanup probably involved there, but shouldn't be too difficult. Tops and bottoms with molded on detail, like lettering and stuff like that. I don't know what it means, but it's like lettering for identification of what maybe the contents are, I don't know, or type of barrels. Then we have another one. This one's a little bit lighter gray than that one. So again, this is probably stuff that, you know, goes with different kinds of kits. Now the filler caps are a little bit different from each one. So one may be for water, one may be for fuel, I don't know. We've got some crates, assuming ammo crates. Here are the eyes for the tow cable. We've got a jack here, pretty plain, pretty simple, but it'll get the job done. I think that's a convoy light for the back. Just more small parts there. So that's that. So now all that's left are the figures. All right, so we have a Sprue Z. So he looks like the driver perhaps, or maybe a passenger, or maybe a guy for the back. I don't know. I'm gonna say a guy for the back because it comes with these extra parts here. But we've got two of them. They're both the same guy, two Sprue Z's. So these are the typical, I could probably look this up and see when these were actually molded, but I'm not gonna. Doesn't really matter. The detail on them is pretty good. We got some mold seam lines that'll need to be cleaned up. And a lot of people hack on these figures. I mean, obviously they're not like Alpine figures or some of the other manufacturers, but they're pretty good. And, you know, being inside of a cab, sitting in the back of a truck, they will serve the purpose nicely. There's enough relief that you'll be able to get some depth as far as in the colors and stuff on the uniforms. So I'm not going to complain too much at this point about them. I mean, I'm not much of a figure painter. I'm not a figure painter at all, really. But they'll be a nice addition to the truck. Then we have Sprue Z, which is two more figures. They're both wearing the field caps there, or forge caps, whatever you call them, the ones without the bill on them. These guys have the ones with the bill. His has got a jaunty angle to it, kind of over on the side. He's smiling, he's having a good day. This guy not so much. He's kind of frowning, but this guy's stoked. He must be the driver. He's glad to be driving the truck. And there's three heads there, so you can choose. So you've got happy guy. This guy's got a bit of a smile on his face, but that guy's frowning. I think I'm gonna use the two happy guys. But again, details adequate, especially for being inside of a vehicle. So that is Sprue Z. So the only thing left is this little packet here that has the decals in it, and it's not going to open easily. Of course not. Yeah, crikey. So we'll bust out with the old shizers. And there's too much glue and tape residue on there. That's shameful. I usually keep my scissors in better shape than that. Time to do some tool cleaning. Holy cow. Alright, so these are Tamiya decals. Now these don't feel quite as thick as some of them, so that should be alright. And really, for the version I'm doing, the only ones I'm going to be using is this one for the dashboard and the license plate decals. That's it. I may put these on the gun. I don't know. It may be a new crew, so they don't have any kill marks yet. But yeah, little tiny thing of decals there, so no big deal. Tamiya decals, they should be fine using the Tamiya decal set softer stuff. So that's pretty much the contents of the box. So as far as materials and supplies I'm going to be using, I will be using, I think I'm getting low on most of my Decals paint, so I think I'll probably use the Tamiya Decals paint on this build. And then for tires and guns and stuff like that, I'm going to use some MRP or scale model supply, SMS, acrylic lacquers. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So yep, that's it. That's part one. So part one ends with the intro to the kit. The 1/35 scale Tamiya German 3.5 ton truck with 3.7 centimeter flak 37 anti-aircraft gun. Whew. So next time we come back, we'll actually start on the assembly of this kit. So again, thanks Keith Short, my buddy, for giving me this kit to build. I appreciate it. I hope you all enjoy following along. I will do pretty much a step-by-step kind of thing, especially since it is a brand of kit, the ICM part of it anyway, that I am not familiar with. So I'm going to do a step-by-step, and we'll take a look at all of the aspects of the kit, any challenges that might pop up, if any, and just go from there. So, as always, thanks for watching Plastic Models by a Regular Dude. That's it for now.